It's Thursday. It's 4 o'clock. It's short fuse. We were going to do a pre-record, but I thought, no, boys, let's not. And I can't see anything this week, so this is going to be quite interesting. Shout out to podcasters. Hello. Did we get any more listening after I gave them a hello? No. Rob was just silently just listening away. There's a nod. We got maybe 4. Anyway, and a big hello to Aga. Shout out to Aga. Come on, guys. Oi, oi. Just been here. She cleaned the office in literally like an hour. Normally she takes 2. That's it. And a final shout out to the Markles. Anyway, enough about that. Right, okay. Our story of the week, and this is it. Heavy news on bills this week. Quite a lot of stuff. So, let's go through this story, which is quite a big one. So, CFD contracts for difference, right? So, they've been allowed for the last few years, and they've been awarded in rounds. And what they are, basically, you pay money to make sure there are companies that will help us as we transition to this low carbon, who will make up the energy gap. Okay, so that's basically what this contract for difference is. The National Audit Office, basically the sort of government's version of accountants that look out for what's happening in government money, they've just produced a report saying that the way that the contracts have been run by BES, you know, the Government Department for Energy, has probably left us with £1.5 billion over 15 years on our bills. So just take that in. That's £100 million each year to pay for these CFDs that's going to come from the consumer. The business consumer, the end consumer, domestic consumer, whatever, but consumers will pay. And part of the reason is that they say that what's happened is the government made a policy to put in a 150 megawatt cap on people who could apply for the CFD. So fuel technology such as biogas, things such as, burning waste, anything that's much more energy intensive that would be, bigger volume, sort of got punished in this. And the report says what that left was that we had to buy lots of capacity from smaller players who basically give us they might give us a good service, but their actual amount of capacity you're getting for the money isn't a lot. They are very worried that this policy hasn't been good for the consumer. We will have to pay. We're in the situation we are. Contracts have gone down, though. Let's be fair to the government. The level of the money spent on the contracts, the last round was worth 176 million, which is a lot less than the one before. And there were 11 contracts awarded. BES has replied to this report by saying that the CFD is getting the best value for money in the long term, and they're planning to make sure that they're doing everything with the consumer in mind. So what's the point of this? Well, I think this really is this kind of crunch thing that we're looking at. Where are we going? Are we going to say that we want to have the low carbon economy, and I've said this many a time, so much that they're willing to pay for it? And if we're willing to pay for it, then just shut the hell up and accept this cost. Or are we saying that actually we will go low carbon and we're willing to pay for it, but this is incompetence on the behalf of BES because they're short-sighted, because they're thinking all about sort of how to limit and encourage the smaller players. So the government has a real issue here, because if you want to give us lots of capacity, once you've closed down all our coal fire, once you're trying to get rid of thermal, probably eventually trying to get rid of gas as well, whatever. But if you're going to do that and you're going to have smaller and smaller plants, then if you ask smaller players, inevitably they will give you much higher cost for the amount of capacity you get. And I think 150 megawatts is not a lot. So I think the government should revisit that. So there you go. First report says that's going to add 100 million each year. This next story kind of says no one gives a damn, particularly domestic customers. So this is very interesting. So a survey was done by a switching company which found that it's not a small survey, it's not huge, but 2,000 people is a pretty sort of good number to do a survey of. It found that the truth is most of us are massively complacent when it comes to our energy bills. In fact, the overwhelming majority of us don't bother reading our bloody meters, and we let the power companies make our bills up based on estimated readings. And this is quite shocking. It basically said almost half of the 2,000 they surveyed had not taken a meter reading at all and had had an estimated bill for the past 3 years. They also said that basically most people domestically in their survey don't really give a damn who supplies them. They think, excuse me, it's all the same. And really interesting, 2.1 million people, I don't know if they've extrapolated, anyway, 2.1 million people don't know how much they're paying for energy. So you take that in. All of the government stuff is about, you know, we've got to switch, we've got to make sure that everyone's covered, blah, blah, blah. You know, oh God, energy companies get the worst press going all the time. 2.1 million of us don't even know how much we're paying. Don't even know how much we're paying. So the idea of this price cap that's coming in later in the autumn, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? And this is the one thing I will say for the energy companies. We give them a hard time, and they should be given a hard time for all the things they screw up on and bad practices, etc., etc. But you have got to say to them, if they give people all these options and they don't care and they don't switch and then they're stuck on these high bills and then they complain, well, frankly, so what? Stuff you. If you're not bothered, then you can't complain. Yeah, it's like people who say, oh, well, everything's crap. I go, well, did you vote? No, I didn't vote. Well, if you didn't vote, you haven't got a say. And if you're not bothered, yeah, if you're not bothered to go and actually take your readings, find out what there is, I excuse people who are very old in this, right? Absolutely, for elderly people, there should be some tariffs that help them because it's difficult for those people. But for most everyone else, you're internet savvy, you know what's going on, right? If you've got the ability to watch Netflix, you've got the ability to check what your bill is. So there you go. And then the final story in this section, now this is all about green energy. There's been the theme here. So National Grid has finally launched a 48-hour green energy forecast. So what it does, it's teamed up with WWF and an IT company. And what they're doing is when carbon intensity is at its lowest, it'll show you where you're getting most of your green energy from. So I think when we put the story out that day, in particular, most of our green energy in the UK was coming from Scotland and the sort of northeast, obviously from wind power. So you look at that. So the idea is that businesses, and this is mainly for businesses rather than obviously for domestic use, but businesses can look at where the power is, the greenest, and choose distributed power sources. And then there'll be a sort of league table of which areas are producing the most green energy on an app. I think this is really good news. I think this is quite an interesting way of looking at things, because if you think about where businesses are going, all businesses want to cut their bills. How do you cut their bills? Two ways. You try and buy energy cheaper, or you try and use less. And if you're going to do the buying energy cheaper, well, what you're trying to do, nearly always hand in hand, is make sure that your energy is as sustainable as you can get. So if the grid can tell you when it's being produced, then you can basically go, right, okay, we'll go for that energy at this time because that's what we want. So it gives some nice providence for people who are in that kind of field. I would suppose that there would be an issue here, which is, you know, it's a market. So if suddenly someone says, hey, in Northumbria we're producing lots of green energy, and everyone bids for it, well, the price will go up. So that'll be an interesting thing for them to look at. But in general, the idea of telling us where our green energy is coming from, I think is a very good thing, and it lets the consumer have more information, particularly the business consumer. Right, okay, that's it for this bit. I was going to say that we're going to talk about really important stuff, but I've got Johnny. It's the banter box. Come and stand closer. All right?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Sumit.
I did like the picture I sent in the our work group chat where you and Benedict Cumberbatch, should have put it up actually. I forgot that one.
Oh, what a
Rob,
shame.
that would have been great. Just put it up. Very similar.
Yeah, I'm his handsome lookalike.
Yes, the better looking one. Right, our banter box this week is all about our mayor, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. I think we've got some pictures. He's basically said, and there's a nice little editorial twist to this, he's basically said, I want more car-free days in London. Boo! London's full of cars. It's terrible. So he looked at the marathon where Freddie ran. Didn't you, Freddo? Oi. Yeah, exactly. And Gay Pride Day, when you close loads of the streets off. And he says, I want more of that, the Healthy Street campaign.
Yeah.
You've got a little angle about this, haven't you, based on a story that broke today?
Well, I don't know if it's entirely...
I set you up.
I don't know if it's entirely practical,
but go on.
this plan. Because
no, Johnny, the news story today that we've just written.
The news story today.
Johnny, you did the breaking news about it. Do you want me to feed you this?
Yes, feed it to me.
The European Commission?
The European Commission, yes. So the European Commission has actually sued the UK today over... I didn't know...
We're not suing... No, hang on. The European Commission, it's not suing it's saying that the EU, under EU laws, we've broken the laws and they want to take us to court.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? We've done our legal bit, haven't we?
Yeah,
we haven't been sued yet.
No, so sorry, I didn't realise you were going into that so quickly.
Oh my God, next week is
yes,
Anyway, yes.
The European Commission has said that it's going to take us to court.
Because we're very polluting.
Not just us, also a number of other European
yes,
countries.
Absolutely.
Including France, Italy.
Yes.
A number of others. You can read it on our website.
I think Romania is one of them. Yep.
Basically because for too long, according to them, we've been exceeding our pollution levels like nitrogen dioxide.
Can we hear him all right? Is it crackling away?
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it?
Lift it up a little bit.
How about holding it there like a proper pro?
Yeah, I'm an amateur.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to the point. So we have got polluted streets.
We have.
I think it's a stupid idea.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea in theory, but in practice, how's London going to work?
How is London going to... But forget the car stuff, right? You can say, oh yeah, it's great. I say get rid of big cars. That makes sense. But also, let's think about the people who do live in London. And the idea is this is going to be across all 32 boroughs, not just central London, who are disabled, who are elderly, who rely on their cars as a way of getting out and about. Yeah, if you suddenly say, right, this is car-free day, and you need to go to the hospital or you need to go somewhere.
Well, yeah, I imagine if it's car-free day, everyone will set things up in the road and be walking around in the road. And then if an ambulance needs to get through, even if it's only an ambulance that's allowed on the road, that still wouldn't work. So
still wouldn't work.
I don't really see it happening.
No,
there are partial car-free days, like you were saying, the marathon or Ride 100, which can work. But people get frustrated enough with that anyway. So
we just need cleaner cars on the road.
It's a bit of a pipe dream.
It is a pipe dream. That one. Excellent. So basically, this wasn't really banter because you agreed with me.
Yeah, I know. Needs to be more controversial.
He's so poor. Right, okay. You've got some stories then.
Yeah, I do. I can probably argue with you on one of them. I'll try my best. But yeah, so we've got other stories. One of them's about Nissan, which has, for a long time, it's been talking about its new domestic services, which are going to include solar panels on the roof of your house and battery storage that might be in the wall of your house or on the wall of your house.
Made of old batteries, isn't it?
Yeah, well... Yes, you're getting ahead of me. But this product from Nissan has actually been launched in the UK finally this week. And yeah, it gives you a choice of basically the battery units that store the power you're generating. So it costs, this scheme by the way, £3,881 is the starting price.
That's not terrible, actually.
No, it's okay, because obviously Nissan says that eventually you're going to make that money back up because you're generating your own electricity.
Yeah.
But you can decide to get, I think it costs a bit more if you want new Nissan batteries, but Nissan's encouraging people to use old batteries from their Nissan Leaf cars. Actually as the battery unit, which means they don't have to even create new batteries for this product.
I don't think that's too bad. Of course, it depends on how much charge are in those old batteries, but
no, I think it's a good idea. But it's that's just the starting price. So if it costs a lot more than that for a big unit, then I don't know how many people have that kind of cash.
So for your mansion, about 25 grand then.
More.
Yeah. I'd like to hear.
Cover the place.
Cover the place with it. Next one.
The next one is the one that I think we might argue
Yes, we are going to argue about this.
So this is about Oxford City Council, which has basically, it's trialling new electric vehicle chargers, and they're fancy ones. They're not just standard ones because they you've all seen these kind of things that stop you parking in certain places. The posts
Do you
that
want
slide
to
up
hold
from the
this?
ground.
You're
I've
having
got
a
it
few
now.
trouble.
He looks happy.
Honest to God.
These poles that slide up from the ground
Yes.
to stop you parking in places. Now they're going to put chargers in that work like that. So they're below
So
the
they're
ground
smashed
most
through your
of the
car
time.
at the time.
Yeah, they're below the ground most of the time.
Yes.
But you need an app to get them to come above ground and say, I'm here, charge my car. But I imagine you're going to say, not everyone's going to have a smartphone to use these apps.
I'm not really worried about that bit. Tell me about the cost and the money for this.
Okay, well, it's a £600,000 project. You might think doesn't sound so bad for fancy chargers that slide up from under the ground.
Depends on how many charges
but
for start. But anyway, go on.
20 charges.
Okay.
So that's what? 30 grand each? No?
Yeah,
30 grand each. And yeah, so Innovate UK is actually funding a large part of this cost. So out of 600 grand, the government / us will be paying 474,000.
That's them ringing to say what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
£474,000.
yeah, out of 600.
Yeah. And the rest of it is this company. Yeah.
Yep. So they're
Okay.
getting quite a nice boost.
They're
from the
getting
taxpayer
quite a nice
there.
boost from the taxpayer to put in these things.
Yeah.
So, my view on this is why it's a good idea, but why the hell are we paying for it?
Yeah. Well, I suppose I agree with you there as well.
I love the way.
I think.
You know, that's good.
I like.
That's good. I like it.
I like the idea
That's
of
true.
this scheme in general,
but
but I think the money would be better. My main problem is the money would be better spent putting, instead of 40 jazzy ones that require apps and so on, why not 40? Double the amount, but just standard chargers. I don't think we're at the stage yet with electric cars where we need such fancy equipment.
Yeah, well, I just think that, if you're going to do this sort of stuff, you should do it commercially. You're making a commercial case, or the government just does it. You can't have this halfway house where companies are getting loads of money for it, frankly, free cash. Why shouldn't, what the hell haven't we got money?
Yeah, but they are introducing new
We're
technologies
training
that
the
are
next
saving the world,
generation.
allegedly.
Here you
So,
are, allegedly. Anyway, okay, yeah. And your final one?
Finally, this one is also about low carbon mobility and transport. It's actually about a new study, that says electric cars are actually reducing the stress levels of drivers. In the case of the study, they're looking at taxi drivers. So they basically stuck some
So the
funny
geezer
caps
goes,
on them.
all right, mate,
Yeah.
I'm a lot more stressed in my diesel one.
Yeah, so they wired up loads of cabbies by putting like funny hats on them and heart
Yeah.
monitors and so on, measuring their brain waves,
I can't
and then
believe
got them
this.
driving around. And
Yeah.
the ones driving diesel cars had higher blood pressure and
Yeah.
more agitated brain
Or maybe they
waves.
just chose really big fat ones for that, and like really slim fit ones who are driving the electric
You'd hope
cars.
to think they were fairer than that, but yeah, maybe.
Okay, so driving an EV is more calming for the brain.
And it kind of makes sense because there's less vibration, less noise. So if you're sitting in traffic, you're not breathing in all this nitrogen dioxide.
He
coming
lives
out.
in a wibbly wobbly world, doesn't he? Lift your microphone up. They're saying lift your
Well,
microphone
how hard's
up.
it? Okay. Anyway.
Honestly, he's been doing this for months now. Yes, go on.
Yeah, so that's about that. I think, to be honest, I think I can see how it reduces stress because it's like being in a fancy luxury car or something. If
Or
it's
like,
completely
or,
silent
or
and
like
smooth.
being in this luxury office. Very
Yeah.
stress reducing.
Yeah, no noise or vibrations
No,
here.
nothing.
No.
Not now. After lunch, yes, sometimes. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. That's everything on the story front. But as always, you can contact us on stories@energylivenews.com to criticise us or praise us or give us ideas for
Or give them
stories.
job offers.
So yeah. I don't need a job offer. I'm going to be here for a while.
Can I just say one thing, though? This is the scary thing, because Pree's just got on her flight because she's having a nice weekend away. And the reason we're doing the show today is because tomorrow we're all going on a boat. Oi, oi! Actually going on a
oi.
speedboat on the Thames to celebrate our 8th birthday.
Yeah.
I think that's a round of applause. Thanks to eLearners, current and past. But anyway, the most important thing, and I am really slightly scared for you, audience, is next week, for the next 2 weeks,
Yeah, I'm running this.
you're running this with Pree. Pree's running this. So, please, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to just give them the hardest time possible with all the banter that they deserve. And of course, I will be making sure that our lawyers are watching the show.
Yeah, those of you with sensitive kind of attitudes, and don't bother.
Do you know what you're
going to
do? You got any idea how you're going to prepare? You can do something different?
I'm just going to freestyle the whole thing. I'm
You're
going
going
to
to
stand up here.
freestyle the whole thing. Alex just has a look of sheer terror on his face.
No, it's going to be great.
Excellent. Well, we trust them. Well, I don't really.
Short
but
fuse untamed.
yeah, as Short Fuse Untamed. We shall see Jonathan next week with Pre. Tune
See
in
you
for
later.
that next Friday. Thank you, Johnny. Goodbye. God, that was a lot of effort, wasn't it? Okay. We adjusted the camera angle. Are we happy now? Yes? Very good. That's good. Lovely. Okay, so all of that is very good. What is even better is what is coming up very, very soon. In about just over 2 and a bit weeks. Energy Live Future, taking place on the 7th of June at the Siemens Crystal. You've probably seen this clip a million times. I'm going to play it anyway. This is our headline speaker.
Hello, I'm Bas Lansdorp. I'm CEO and co-founder of Mars One. I'll be speaking at Energy Live Future in June in London, and I hope you will be there. I'll be speaking about Mars, about why we should go there, how we will go there, about how we will get energy on Mars. It's going to be an exciting event. Join us.
So there you go, Bas will be there. He will be talking to you about Mars. He'll be talking about powering our way in the future when we go to Mars. He'll be talking about nuclear power. He'll be talking about different types of materials that were already being developed here on Earth for technology that will be used both in space and here. We've got a packed day for you. We have got the British Gas sessions. We've got sessions from Ørsted as well. UK Power Networks will be there. We'll have lots and lots of interesting kit, some universities in the lab area, and we've got the EV highway where we've got a variety of commercial vehicles. I think we've got only about 15 tickets left. So remember, if you're an energy end user, you can come to this if you qualify. All you have to do is drop Freddie a line. Just go onto our homepage, have a look for events, have a look for Energy Live Future, and send us a registration email. We've only got 15 spaces left, so come and grab them. What else is coming up in the diary? You'll see, obviously, as I've said, you've got the 7th of June for Future. On the 28th of June, we have Telca, and next Monday, woohoo, the shortlist is announced. So on Monday, stay tuned to the website, watch our Twitter feed. You will see who is going through to our final on the 28th of June. And also, don't forget, as I've said last couple of weeks, we're delighted that the Energy Minister, Claire Perry, will be joining us on the 31st of October, Halloween Day, at the Energy Live Expo, which takes place in Westminster. So again, you can start getting yourself registered for that as well. Okay, any shout-outs, Frederick? No. No shout-outs. Not even the cork. No. Dear old Corky. Right. As I said, we'll be back next Friday with Johnny and Pre. But before I go, we had to do this because this has been everywhere. So I want you to, you've probably seen in this, and I'm not even going to say what it is first of all. Just have a listen to this.
Laurel, 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 laurel.
So which camp are you in?
Laurel.
Yeah? Are you a Laurel
Laurel.
or a Yanni?
Laurel.
I'm a Yanni.
Laurel.
Johnny?
Laurel.
Al? Rob?
Laurel.
Laurel. So there you go. Boo. Freddie couldn't hear either of them. I don't know what that says about Freddo, but there you go. Couldn't hear either of them. My son's a Laurel, and then Jeff is just too loud, so he would just drown out whatever came out anyway. Yeah, he can differentiate between the two, so that's fine. He must be in the higher echelons. It's all to do with your frequency of hearing. I'd like to say it's all to do with your intelligence, wouldn't you, Jonas? That's cool, isn't it? Yeah. Yannies are in. Al, we're up there. Bang on. Have a great week. Enjoy the summer sunshine that we've got early for the weekend. We'll be on a boat tomorrow, so don't expect us to answer any calls when you ring the office. I will be away for a couple of weeks. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Johnny and Pre. Have a great time. I'll see you very soon.